All right, let's talk about zoanthids and also palythoa. Here's some everlasting gobstoppers. As you can see, Nemo really likes them. And I got a pretty good variety here. I don't have too many of the higher end ones anymore because just like everybody else, they melt on me too. So I'm still looking for good strains of them. Which brings me into my first tip, that if you get some Zoas and they don't do well and they melt on you, don't be afraid to try another frag. Just try to get it from a different place because it could be a different strain and it may work out better for you. I've had different ones. As a matter of fact, these gobstoppers here, I had them a couple years ago and they didn't turn out good, and then I got this strain here and as you can see they grow out really good. So don't be afraid to try another frag. Just try to get it from a different place. And also when you're getting your Zoas, try to stay away from getting single polyps. Personally, I don't like it when vendors sell things in a single polyp with Zoas and Palys because it really lessens your chance of it surviving. So when I sell these, I sell them all as a frag. I make sure there's not just one on there, just to help the reefers out as much as I can. I don't sell per polyp either. That's ridiculous in my opinion, but that's just something to look out for, is try to stay away from single polyps. Zoas and Palys like higher nutrients, so if you can keep your nitrates higher than 10 or around there, they'll like that. People have had success with lower nutrients, but if you're having problems and you notice your nitrates and your phosphates are kind of on the lower end, try to bump them up. I know it's difficult in the mixed tank, especially if you have SPS, but you just got to find that happy medium because Zoas and Palys tend to like more nutrient heavy water. And if you're having issues with your Zoas closing up, try putting them in lower light. Sometimes when they're in too high a par, they'll close up and it seems like they're not opening, or you can see these guys right here. They're really close to the plug, but they're open. So I know they're getting good light. And some naturally reach out like these ones over here. So it may depend on which type they are too. But for the most part, if they're real close to the plug and they're closing up, try moving them in the lower light area. I have like a little shaded area that I like to put mine in, or over here away from the lights, and that'll help them out. And conversely, if they're really long and leggy, put them in a little brighter light, and then you'll see them, get down to more of the normal looking, like these right here. And Zoas and Palys, they like a medium flow. You don't want them, obviously with real low flow. Some people have success with high flow, like in an SPS tank, but for my Zoas and Palys, I like to put them in a medium flow. And the reason for that is because they don't like things on their base, typically. I'll show you here. This tank gets detritus because this frag rack here is acrylic and it's smooth on top, so it's not like the egg crate one where all the detritus can go through. So this collects detritus. And I'll show you, if I can get it on camera here. You see how that blows off? I gotta do this at least 3 times a week. It keeps the Zoas happy and the Palys happy. It keeps all this off their base. Palys tend to like dirtier substrates like the sand and stuff, and they'll add it to their base. That's sort of how you can tell if it's a Paly or not, but Zoas do not like anything on their base. So I just kind of go through and do it to everybody here. Most of these are Zoas in here anyway. And usually the way I tell, there's an official way to tell, and I forgot what it was, but I just go by their feeding response. Because for me, Palys will grab food and they'll close up really fast. Where Zoas are just kind of like, don't really want to eat. They don't really show that they're eating. But Palys will grab it and they'll close right up as soon as you feed them. So that's sort of how I tell. As you can see, some of them closed up when I did that, and that's okay. They'll open back up. But they like that when their base is clean. They don't want anything on their base. And finally, don't be afraid to frag Zoas and Palys. I know palytoxin does exist. So I suggest to be cautious. For your first time, wear a face shield and gloves and safety goggles, whatever you got to wear to keep anything that could splash in your face. Make sure you don't have any cuts on your hands. You want to frag in between the polyps, not across the middle, because that's where the palytoxin is in the polyps. So if you cut in between the polyps, let's see if I can find one that's spread apart. There's one there. So you can see where there's two polyps there, and there's like right in the middle there. You can cut in between there, and then you can frag that off with your pliers or your cutters, your bone cutters, and then you can separate that and frag that. So you don't have to chisel them off of the frag plug. You just cut in between the polyps and take your bone cutters and cut the frag. And then you can re-glue that onto another frag plug. So don't be afraid about fragging them. Just make sure you use proper precautions, and don't get anything in your mouth or anything like that. But yeah, Zoas, I think everybody should have some Zoas. They're pretty easy to care for. Like I said, they like higher nutrients, but they come in a wide range of colors, as you can see, in different patterns, and that's what I like about them. I can't get enough of them. I want to collect all of them, really. And I've had different ones that I don't have in here. I'll put up some pictures of some of the higher end ones that I used to have that are pretty neat, that everybody likes to get, like the GMKs and stuff like that. I think that was Grandmaster Cracks, stuff like that, but I don't really get into those just because I didn't have luck with them, but it's not to say I won't try again. Here's some cool ones here. These are Utter Chaos. A lot of people like those, including me. So yeah, just don't be afraid to try them. If you're thinking about getting Zoas and Palys, like I said, be cautious if you're going to frag them. If you're not going to frag them, go ahead and put them in your tank. Put some glue or epoxy on the plug. You can cut out that stem and put it right on your rock. You ain't got to worry about separating it off the frag plug. So that's Zoas and Palys. Well, that'll do it for this video. If you haven't already headed over to Reef, I'll put a link in the description below, and you can sign up for a free account today. I highly suggest you do so because you get to hang out with other reefers, and you can also talk to industry experts. I'm Reefer Matt. Thank you for watching, and happy reefing.